Eliot and Ness is like, what is it? What do you need? What do you need, Malone? And he's like, reaches over. And is it the St. Jude pendant? No, not the object of my faith. I need, yes, the train schedule.
Yeah.
And his dying line.
No.
He delivers bookkeeper.
Remember when we first met John McClane? Argyle picked him up from the plane and took him down the Nakatomi Tower after Christmas party. And the terrorists were overzealous, but it was sweet when they killed Ellis. And with a little help from Alan, John McClane kicked ass.
Welcome back to Shat The Movies, the podcast where we answer the question, were the movies we loved when we were growing up really that good? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why don't they make movies like they used to? Can you still remember spending your Friday night searching for the perfect movie rental Blockbuster Video? Do you know what Blockbuster Video is? If you answered yes, then this is the podcast for you. I'm one of your hosts, Gene Lyons. Alongside me is my co-host, Big D, Dick Ebert.
All right, now, let's do some good.
Each week, we take a look back in time, decide if our favorite films still hold up. The movies we cover are chosen by you, the listeners, who generously commission the films you love. If you'd like to see all the movies we have covered, we'll cover one and choose one for yourself. Please visit shatpod.com and have a look. At the end of each podcast, we'll provide you, the audience, with a number of wipes each movie takes to get off your respective butts. So thank you so much for listening. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and share with a friend. It's how we help the podcast grow. Additionally, subscribe to our sister podcast, Shat on TV. Review TV series such as Westworld, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, True Detective, Lovecraft Country, and Watchmen. Find all that information and past episodes at shatpod.com/TV. And finally, if you'd like to hang out with us live, follow and subscribe to our Twitch channel, shatpod.com/Twitch, and our YouTube channel, where we play video games, host watch parties, and edit this podcast live. All that being said, Big D, what movie are we reviewing tonight?
Gene, it's going to be so hard for me to not do like 30s radio voice. I fucking love it.
You're the new Casey Kasem on this podcast.
I love the 30s, like the baseball announcers, like, and we got a news flash here down in the Bronx. We got the Sultan of SWAT coming out there, smacking it to Staten Island. I'll tell you, those guys can really win it. I don't know why. There's something about it. So I'm going to try.
Maybe you were born to do that.
I think I would have loved to go back to like the 30s and just try to like fit in. To be like, what's happening, fellas? What's the good word on the street? They immediately would be like, who the fuck is this clown? They would catch me immediately. But tonight's film, Gene, the year is 1930. We got booze is illegal, the gangsters are rich, and Chicago's on fire. Al Capone's running the town with a smile, a bat, and a bankroll, while the law tries to remember which side of the line they're on. So tonight we're going to put on some clean suits, go out in the dirty streets with a handful of badge-wearing do-gooders, and we're going to decide we've had enough, Gene, because it's a story of headlines, heroics, and a whole lot of gunfire. So pull up your chairs, dear listener. Keep your heads down and let's go out and distribute some justice the way we really did back in the 30s and make the front page. So we're reviewing the 1987 American crime drama, The Untouchables. And our commissioner, Adrian, was kind enough to call in and leave a message to tell us why he selected this film. That's the wrong one. Oh, we'll try it again here. So Adrian called in. He used his telegraph to send us a message about why he thought this film would be appropriate to do for the podcast, Gene. So let's hear what he says in his own words.
So, The Untouchables. The first grown-up movie I ever watched on my own accord as an early teenager. I recorded it on BBC One television. I was drawn to the movie as my dad would often tell me that Sean Connery was the best James Bond, whereas when I was young, Roger Moore had the role. Seeing Sir Sean Connery in his acting career after playing the world's most famous British spy, always felt interesting. Like, what would he bring to the role this time? And winning the Best Supporting Actor for The Untouchables just increased the hype for me for this movie when I was a kid. Yes, that accent, but dude played a Russian captain in The Hunt for Red October. Just let the man do his thing.
Yes.
But of course, I start the movie looking for Sean, but left for Robert De Niro. Before I even knew really what a great actor De Niro was. And that movie poster, is that not one of Hollywood's best? In terms of acting, it's the same with Kevin Costner and Andy Garcia, whom in my locality were very popular with the ladies, which was quite interesting for a cops and robbers movie with a high degree for the time for violence. The Untouchables, when I was at university in the early 90s, took on a special significance. My friends and I would often quote the movie to each other, particularly a dear friend of mine from Connecticut in the United States. So The Untouchables does hold a lot of fond memories for me. And for some reason, I always feel optimistic after watching it, like you would after watching your favorite Rocky movie or some other movie that has a special place in your heart. So, being a period piece, I hope that it holds up. But if it doesn't, I won't be disappointed. It's an honor just to have you, Big D, and Eugene Lyons discussing the movie and other topics that might spring to mind. That's for all. Just want to say thank you for all that you do on your podcast and previous cast members. You've brought much humor, thoughtfulness, and critical appraisal to your audience, and long may it continue. Take care. Bye.
Adrian, it is the second day of 2026 right now as we record. And I got to tell you that messages like that, the kindness and the gratitude and the appreciation that you're expressing. First of all, I'm humbled because Big D and I mean, it's cliche, but we're just two guys that get on the podcast and talk to each other as friends. And it means so much to know that you're listening from so far away and sharing a movie that means so much to you with us.
And I think it's funny because it's part of the podcast's charm for me is you hear about him telling the story about his exposure to it in the BBC. I wonder, because we're going to talk about the historic accuracy of the film. When it's on TV in the BBC, do people think like, wow, this is really the story. That's really what's happened. And we watch our British shows. Are we getting the hood thrown over our eyes, Gene, with these fake Hollywood stories about history?
I mean, Excalibur seemed pretty accurate to me.
But we have like Braveheart was obviously
totally
sensationalized.
Real.
So I wonder, I bet you they think Eliot Ness is a badass throughout the United Kingdom.
He did some great work in Cleveland.
Yeah, please. I think it was a lot of pushing pencils and filling out forms and less cracking skulls and riding into battle with the Canadian Mounties.
Adrian, I got to admit that when you commissioned this film, my initial response was mixed. This is a late 80s mob biopic, basically, about Eliot Ness. It's sourced somewhat from his own memoirs. Like, my bullshit alarm was on high alert. How honest is Eliot Ness going to be about his own exploits? But I also remember my first experience with this movie as a kid, and I thought it was cool as hell. I thought these guys were badasses. I thought this is how it really went down. That these guys took down Al Capone by just kicking ass in all these raids. And so this commission ended up being a real battle between young Gene, who was so impressed with Eliot Ness and the Untouchables, and a seasoned Mr. Lyons, who said, based on the source material alone, I think we're going to have some problems.
And dear listeners who might be under the age of, say, 40, back in the day before the internet, you didn't have ready accessibility to trailers. You had the newspaper that showed the poster, but most of it was you would see a little quick commercial, you would see the actual poster art in your theater, or you might catch a quick commercial of it. And this film sells itself. When you see Al Capone, De Niro sitting there with the cigar, he's in the background. You have Kevin Costner, Eliot Ness pointing the camera. You get in the back Connery with his Tommy gun. You see this skyline of Chicago. This poster sells the film. I didn't have to know any of the history. I didn't have to know anything that went on. This could be total fiction, and I'm in on it. And I think that's why back in the day, people were so excited to go and see it, because you got a kick-ass cast, a great story, and most importantly, a kick-ass poster.
The Untouchables is a 1987 crime drama directed by Brian De Palma and starring Kevin Costner, Andy Garcia, Robert De Niro, and Sean Connery. Set in 1930 Chicago, the film follows Eliot Ness, played by Costner, as he forms the Untouchables team to bring Al Capone, played by Robert De Niro, to justice during Prohibition. It is the third film on which De Niro and De Palma collaborated after Greetings, which was De Niro's first lead in a feature role, and Hi, Mom. The screenplay is loosely based on Ness's and Oscar Frehley's 1957 book, The Untouchables, and the real-life events on which it is based, although most of the plot is fictionalized. The Grammy Award-winning score is composed by Ennio Morricone and features period music by Duke Ellington. The Untouchables premiered on June 2nd, 1987 in New York City and went into general release on June 3rd, 1987 in the United States. It grossed $106 million worldwide and received generally positive reviews from critics. It was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, and Sean Connery won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, as well as a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture. Let's hit the trailer.
I grew up in a tough neighborhood. Sometimes a reputation follows you.
Robert De Niro is Al Capone.
There is violence in Chicago, of course, but not by me and not by anybody I employ, and I'll tell you why, because it's not good business.
Kevin Costner is Eliot Ness.
I have sworn to put this man away with any and all legal means at my disposal, and I will do so.
Sean Connery is Jimmy Malone.
You want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. You just joined the Treasury Department, son. Everybody knows where the booze is. The problem isn't finding it.
Let's do some good!
The problem is who wants to cross Capone.
Somebody messes with me, I'm gonna mess with him.
You carry a badge?
Yes?
Carry a gun.
Get your hands in the air!
You're all under arrest.
You fellas are untouchable. Is that the thing? No one can get to you? Hey, everybody can be gotten to.
All right, then. Drive him to the station. Anything happens, you shoot first. You understand me?
Well, I'll tell you one more thing. You got an all-out prize fight, you wait till the fight's over, one guy's left standing, and that's how you know who won.
Just tell me, are you being careful?
Careful as mice.
I want to hurt the man, Malone. I want to start taking the battle to him. I want to hurt Capone.
This man can finger Al Capone. This man could put Capone behind bars.
Well, what's the matter? Can't you talk with a gun in your mouth?
You're not to prove your methods. Yeah? Well, you're not from Chicago.
I want you to find this Nancy boy, Eliot Ness. I want him dead. I want his family dead.
Paramount Pictures presents a Brian De Palma film.
I have forsworn myself. I have broken every law I swore to defend. I have become what I beheld, and I am content that I have done right.
You got nothing. Nothing. And if you were a man, you would have done it now.
Never stop fighting till the fight is done.
The Untouchables.
During Prohibition, the notorious gangster Al Capone supplies illegal liquor and controls most of Chicago. Bureau of Prohibition agent Eliot Ness has been tasked with halting Capone's activities, but his first attempt at a liquor raid fails due to corrupt policemen alerting Capone. He encounters veteran officer James Malone, who opposes the rampant corruption and offers to help Ness. They recruit trainee George Stone for his superior marksmanship and integrity, and joined by accountant Oscar Wallace, the foursome successfully raid a Capone liquor warehouse and start to gain positive publicity. Capone kills the warehouse manager with a baseball bat to warn his other subordinates.
So, Gene, I want to start this recording off with a little quick question for you.
Yeah.
When you get into the 80s films, one of the most dangerous times that scares me is the opening credits. Yeah. It can go wrong really quick. What did you think of the opening credits?
Hated them.
No.
Yeah, I did.
No, I had the total opposite. It's really simple. You get some mysterious pianos, like it's the firm. It's like, dun, 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 dun. You get the Untouchables font, and it's casting a shadow. Yes, it's a bit heavy-handed. It's showing crime spreading across Chicago and the reach of the Untouchables. But you didn't think it was simple, clean. It wasn't 80s vibe.
Here's what I didn't like. It wasn't 80s vibe, but here's what I didn't like about it. You've got basically a blank screen with the Untouchables font and the shadow and the dun, 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 piano. Nothing's happening visually, right? There's no like people on the screen. There's no plot advancement. There's no background. And then what is it open to? A static shot from above of Al Capone getting a shave, and then you get text on screen. You know what would have been a great time to share that text on screen? During the opening credits when I wasn't looking at anything.
I will agree, but as a notorious slow reader, I was really happy. That text was on screen for a very long time. I thought I was going to be able to catch up with it. Normally, it's there and gone. They gave me plenty of time. We found out about Capone, the Prohibition. It stays longer than it needed to, and I was thankful. But the movie looks, Gene, when we get into the actual characters and the city, it looks solid to me across the board. It feels right. Nothing looks fake. Nothing looks sloppy. There's no CGI. And that's honestly, I think, the biggest complaint we have about period pieces and movies, where you can see along the seams that it's not real. This feels lived in. It doesn't feel over-designed. It reminded me of The Natural with Robert Redford in that way. It's not polished. And the clothes look real. I texted you and said, the fabric. I thought you were going to be sitting there with a boner, looking at all these suits, these tailored fabric suits.
I thought you were making fun of me with the Ed Wood thing.
No, I'm telling you it looked good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could see.
You weren't being a little clever?
No. I think your love of fashion, that's not a pejorative statement. I think it's actually, it's very quaint. But yeah, as a man who loves to get dressed up to go on an airplane, I thought these suits, it's not like a costume on a movie set. It looked real. It looked lived in, time appropriate. You've got also then the streets, the signs, the cars, the buildings. It feels real. It belongs there. Nothing takes me out of the illusion. I'm looking for it. I'm like, okay, where is like the sign or the trash can that doesn't match? The streets look appropriate. There's cobblestones. It doesn't look like it was filmed in 87. But I'm not the expert, right? I'm sure people who've never been to New York see when they use Toronto as a stand-in. You as someone who lived in Chicago, did this feel and look authentic to the Chicago you remember?
So as you know, Sarah and I have been talking about the possibility of moving back to Chicago, like in the next 5 years before the kids start school, just to get back to a climate that we like, have access to 2 airports, be within a few hours of her parents, have a beach again, have snow again. Like I love Chicago. I'm so sad that I left Chicago. And this movie shows how beautiful Chicago is. The Chicago backdrop is my favorite aspect of The Untouchables. It is a gorgeous city, and they captured a very specific era of Chicago, right? Chicago's first golden age, right, really peaked in about 1929. It was still in its heyday, right? So we can see the Chicago, it's coming off its most prosperous years. You see things like Union Station. You see things like the Blackstone. They look gorgeous. It made me somewhat homesick for Chicago. And the thing that's key here is it costs more. Sure, it's more difficult, particularly in a place that has weather, to shoot on scene. But this is what you get for it, right? When you're shooting on scene, it looks amazing. And the glow that De Palma gave the buildings and capturing this Art Deco era, along with the costuming and everything else, vehicles, everything looks perfect.
And it's one of my complaints that I've said before. When an actor portraying a character, when I can see Tom Cruise and not the character he's playing, it pulls me out. Even though we're seeing, I think it's the South LaSalle Street, and there's that iconic building, the trade building. I think it's the Wayne building in The Dark Knight as well. And it's where a lot of the Dark Knight scenes were filmed. It still looks like 30s Chicago to me. And that is a huge plus on the movie. And Adrian mentioned De Niro. We're going to talk about Costner and the rest of the cast. And even though De Niro is the main character on the poster, he's not the main focus of the film. He's kind of in the background a lot. But when we do meet him in that opening scene in the chair, he feels dangerous. The second he's there, he's got that same energy. De Niro plays crazy, unhinged roles very well. And it's interesting because this movie doesn't focus on him. We don't get to see much time of him alone with his organization. We don't see his rise. We don't see any of that. It's focusing on Ness and the Untouchables. So we don't get inside his head to learn what makes him tick. This might be just a show. So we're observing it from the outside. He's cold. He's calculated. He's emotionally impulsive. And that makes him even scarier because you don't know. The opening scene, he picks up the bat and he goes and just bashes that dude's head in. And I can't imagine what it would be like. How do you go to work every day and worry That barber, I'm sure as hell, thought he was dead. If there wasn't a room full of people, he was going to get killed. Could you work for somebody like this?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the thing is that in the workplace, in training dogs, in relationships, everything, right? It's about predictability. And as soon as a person becomes unpredictable and you never know and you never feel safe, like it's no amount of money, no amount of prestige, nothing could make me be involved in this scenario. But you're right. He plays it off perfectly.
Do you think there's like a 5% chance at least one employee in your office feels a bit like you're Capone? Like they don't know when you're going to slam a whiteboard, when you're going to fire something against the wall. Do they think like, hey, we better just like keep it cool, keep Gene calm?
Yeah, probably.
There is somebody.
Probably, yeah.
I hope Gene doesn't bash our head in if we don't meet his expectations on ROI and our KPIs are off.
Yeah, she's probably listening right now. But Big D, De Niro is in his own movie, almost to a fault. Like Costner, Connery, and Garcia, they're doing a police drama. It's like, we're the Untouchables. We're going to go crack some skulls and, do some good. And De Niro, he's approaching this movie like Goodfellas. He's playing it straight up mob movie. And I really have to applaud De Palma for this casting because most directors, they're going to get Costner, they're going to get Garcia, they're going to get Sean Connery. And for Capone, you're just going to get some generic mob type, right? Because he's only got a couple minutes of screen time. Who cares, right? He's the faceless mob boss. Nobody cares. But using De Niro, the second I saw that towel come off his face and you see De Niro and he's delivering those lines, you're like, oh, this movie means business. Like they're not fucking around. They want a credible Al Capone, and he's great in this.
Totally agree.
Discovering that Capone has not filed an income tax return for 4 years, Wallace suggests trying to build a tax evasion case against him. In a subsequent raid on the Canadian border, Ness and his team intercept an incoming liquor shipment, killing several gangsters and capturing a Capone bookkeeper named George, whom they eventually persuade to testify against his employer. Back in Chicago, Capone's enforcer, Frank Nitti, murders Wallace and George in the elevator of the police station and leaves a taunting message for Ness. Ness confronts Capone at the Lexington Hotel after the murders, but Malone intervenes, urging Ness to focus on persuading the district attorney not to dismiss the charges against Capone.
So, Gene, as a man, I've taken an oath, or I took an oath, to defend the Constitution, to protect the United States. I was willing to die for a cause. I question whether or not how I was the most patriotic. I don't know. I don't know how I would have performed. But I took that oath to do something that I thought was bigger than me, and I was willing to do it, But prohibition, for me, it feels like kind of a stupid hill to die on. I understand it's the law, but it's also a law that most people didn't respect. All the characters are like winking. Hey, come on, everybody's doing it. What's the big deal? You see Oscar, when they shoot one of the barrels, he's drinking it. People are drinking openly. It's in the post office they're storing it. Society collectively, they pretended it was normal. And watching this movie now, I keep asking myself, what exactly are these dudes fighting for? What are they putting their families at risk? Why are you risking somebody coming in and shooting your wife and child? And it makes me question whether enforcement of the law that doesn't make sense, and I know we can't always choose that, it's noble or stubborn and stupid. And it highlights the danger of people blindly following the law that is completely disconnected simply because it's a government rule. I don't know that I would put my life on the line like any of the Untouchables do for something that they seem okay doing, but just because a piece of paper says they can't. It's not like they're fighting child rape or, murdering the elderly. This is something that everybody's kind of like, hey, it's okay. I don't know that I could pick up this fight and die on this hill.
I don't know if it's intentional, but there's a scene in this movie that really highlights how arbitrary prohibition is, right? Eliot Ness, he's at his desk and he's got a cigarette and a cup of coffee. And depending on how Congress acted, right, you could say that this stimulant, caffeine, right, can be abused. You could say that nicotine, right, is a drug. And it's just so arbitrary that he'll indulge in these things, but not that thing because it's illegal. And you even see at the end when they're like, oh, it sounds like prohibition is going to be repealed. What are you going to do? And he says, I think I'll have a drink, right? Like he's not opposed to the drinking. It's just that it's the law. And Big D, I recently got in an online argument after watching a video. It was a video montage of multiple families being robbed at gunpoint. And the caption was like, always carry, you know, this wouldn't happen if you always carry. And I watched this and it's like 5 different families, real footage of them being robbed at gunpoint. And in every single situation, the guys pop out, they got the guns. The people being robbed handed them their purses and wallets, and then the robbers left. And I pointed that out. And one guy said, you know, I'm like, if they just, they all survived. And one guy responded to me and said, even if it's a penny, you try to take it from me, you're going to end up on a t-shirt. And like, that's just it's a misunderstanding of the value of a human life. And even the danger you put yourself in. Killing people is serious business, and doing it over booze, that is just plain stupid.
Yeah. I'm not going to risk Emma getting shot in the car. So somebody doesn't like, take my car, or somebody doesn't like steal from me. I realize it's not that important. I wish that, that Eliot Ness had been a little upset. His friends have just been murdered for a cause.
Right.
And then they're like, well, I just heard they're gonna eliminate that prohibition. He'd be like, what did Malone die for? Have some kind of nothing. He's just like, oh, great. Okay. There's none of this like, hey, we're going to fight for your memory. We're going to keep fighting to keep the streets clean. He basically smiles and says, well, I guess I'll have a drink. No, you don't do that. And there's a lot of this movie that's I thought I remembered. I want to know what your memory of. They go into that first raid, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, hey, let's do some good. And he busts in through the door with that snowplow. And you see the crates with the maple leaf.
Mm-hmm.
I would have bet my life, Gene, that he was going to bust open those cases and there was going to be maple syrup. That's my memory. Did you have any memory similar?
Yeah. I did not see parasols coming. It was a real loop they threw me for.
No, I thought for sure it was going to be maple syrup, and that was going to be the joke, that it was actually just the wrong, shipment that they got. But Costner, for much of a lawman, right? And then you have Malone, who follows the law to the letter of the law. Gene, I'm going to go to the grave fighting for this prohibition. I got to do it because it's the law. Is that the only law this dude follows?
Yes.
He goes up to Canada, okay, for the Canadian ambush, and it's insanity. They know where the trucks are. The trucks are going to cross over into the United States. They have them on both sides, the Canadians and the Americans. And they don't come and try to apprehend them. They immediately open fire. Maybe you shouldn't have showed up with 4 guys, Eliot Ness, and then 50 Canadian Mounties go charging into this like it's a war movie. Capone's guys are shooting back with their Tommy guns. People are getting dropped in the street. Nobody even pretends like we're going to make an arrest. Then you zoom out and you realize this is how policing worked. If you wanted information, you'd beat a guy's head open, right? You'd fake an execution. You'd pick up a body and blow its head off again to make another person talk. Hey, shoot people in the streets. We see all the body camera videos, and you saw the robbery ones. I would love to see body camera footage from the 30s. It would be unhinged. If this is what policing was, and I know that corruption was widespread and accepted, I would love to see the shit that went down.
I've really changed my position on police since 1987. Believe it or not, at some point when I was a kid, I thought being a cop might not be the worst thing in the world. A detective, mind you, but still, like, I thought, wow, that'd be cool to go solve crimes.
Did I ever tell you that I actually, when I got out of the military, I filled out the application for Orlando Police?
Oh, wow.
I was very close. I was very close to putting on the uniform.
They'd have to do like RoboCop and put you in a special car.
like cut the roof, like a hole in the roof so I could see out the windshield. Yeah.
The siren just go right on top of your head.
Yeah. So I was open to it. I almost might have done it.
Back then, and I'm glad you didn't. Back then in 87, we would all cheer when a cop would be like, here's your warrant, and like put a barrel in the crook's mouth. It was like, yeah, like fuck the red tape. Like you're actually going to crack some skulls. Now I am just appalled at, as you said it, the utter lawlessness of Ness and his men. If you are trying to enforce the law, but you're violating the Constitution, the highest law in the land, what are you doing? They're beating up suspects. They're mutilating dead bodies, as you said. They're shooting into vehicles irrespective of the occupants. They're not like, who's in that car? It's just shotgun, Tommy gun.
Yes.
And then, why horses?
Oh, because it's thematically beautiful.
For people who have not seen this, Sean Connery, Andy Garcia, Kevin Costner, and the guy that plays Oscar, they're like the three amigos. They're like, ha, let's ride. And they come out of their little cabin near the bridge. They mount their horses and they're like, okay, we got to go over there as fast as possible. You know what would get over there a lot fucking faster?
A car.
Right. A car. And then they all dismount their steeds unscathed. Andy Garcia takes one in the shoulder or whatever. And honestly, I'm not trying to make this too serious here, but like, if you're Capone's guys and four dudes on horses start coming at you with guns, you might think that you're getting robbed. They don't identify themselves.
No, and also Capone, I'm questioning his tough guys, his enforcers. All the guys on this raid, you couldn't defend it against four slow guys on horseback coming at you. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. But maybe Ness and his guys have been in the city, right? Living the city life. We're going to go out there and we're going to breathe the fresh air. We're going to get some of them horses. We're going to go out there and if this is them doing everything, let's say this works out, right? They get the bookkeeper, they get the code. How many times does this style fail for Eliot Ness? Where's them kicking in the wrong door and shooting some dude running out the back and it was actually the son? How many times do they shoot into a car and there's a baby in there? You know, later on, Ness he's very caring about that one specific baby carriage. That's probably because he's killed like 18 kids along the way.
You know what's a really interesting fact about Eliot Ness? Is
very short. He was very short.
No, I think he was like 5'10". But no, the neighborhood that he's from in Chicago, it's like one of the deadliest neighborhoods you could live in now. It's like, if you talk about how effective he really was, like what was the point of the work that he did? Like, they had like something like, it was like 26 shooting deaths in 2021, something like that. I might have that wrong. I'm doing this off the top of my head, but like, I just think it's interesting that like, I don't know. Did he fix anything? Did he solve any problems?
You just had me thinking about what fun paradox it would be if we could take everybody in like the world right now or Chicago and give them 30s technology, right? What would the shootings and the deadly neighborhoods look like today? Would there be horse drive-bys with guys? What would you be doing? What exactly would be happening?
It would be the same bombings. Bombings have really fallen off in Chicago. I think there'd be a lot more. You know, bombings were during Prohibition. Like, that's one thing in the movie gets right. Bombings were a very regular thing. You had gangsters bombing other gangsters. If a bar was competing with your liquor movement, that you would bomb them. Here's the crazy thing, Big D. Unions, like if there was a brewery and you served a non-union shop's beer, they'd blow your fucking bar up. Everybody was blowing everything up in the 30s.
See, I'm shocked because that's how you get neighborhoods to turn against you. You know, everybody's okay with Prohibition. Don't blow shit up, and people probably had your back.
I should preface that, like, it wasn't little girl at the drugstore kind of bombings. They would generally do it like late at night when no one was supposed to be around and stuff like that. And it wasn't like that kind. I mean, it wasn't that big a bombing. It was just like we're going to wreck your place. This is an awfully nice soda shop. Be a shame if something happened to it.
So it was symbolic explosions.
No, I mean, it would wreck your shit. It would destroy your bar, but like it wasn't designed to kill anybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so symbolic, right? Yeah. Symbolic.
You know who else is from Roseland, Chicago? Dick Butkus.
Look at you with your Chicago
Tune in
knowledge.
next time for Shat on Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah. After Malone forces police chief Mike Dorsett to reveal where Capone's accountant Walter Payne is hiding, Nitti ambushes him with a Tommy gun. Before Malone dies, he shows Ness and Stone which train Payne will take out of town. At Union Station, Ness notices a young mother laboriously climbing the lobby steps with a baby carriage. Ness decides to assist her, but the gangsters guarding Payne appear and trigger a bloody shootout. Although outnumbered, Ness and Stone manage to capture Payne and kill all his escorts, keeping both the mother and child unharmed. So, Adrian, I think it's about time we talked about Sean Connery. He does an okay job of playing Sean Connery in this movie, but best supporting actor? Like, really? I understand that 1988's Academy Awards were like a lot of Moonstruck, like Cher won an Academy Award, so wasn't exactly the toughest pool there. But after Malone's death scene, Sean Connery should have been banned from Hollywood. First off, he gets shot and dude is alive for like an hour after getting Swiss cheesed by a Tommy gun. Second, he's got everything laid out for Eliot Ness. Like, Eliot Ness is like, what is it? What do you need? What do you need, Malone? And he's like, reaches over and is it the St. Jude pendant? No, No, not the object of my faith. I need, yes, the train schedule.
Yeah.
And his dying line.
No.
He delivers bookkeeper. Now, what are you prepared to do? It is so ridiculous. And it just caps off a character that is so poorly written. He's too convenient to actually exist.
No, you are so wrong. Dead wrong.
Please tell me.
You meet him on the bridge, right? And he's out there, he's walking, and this is not Highlander 2. This is a younger Sean Connery. He's like the foul-mouthed Irish Yoda. He's spitting out police knowledge. What are you prepared to do? That's the Chicago way. And all of his lines. If you bring a knife, I'll bring a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital. He sends two of his to the morgue. Everyone. I want to start to use some of these lines. They're great. You got to be careful who you trust. I grew up in this neighborhood. You're not ready. All those lines are great. I think he makes the movie. And again, maybe it's because it was a weak-ass year, Gene. I mean, Olympia Dukakis won an Academy Award that year. Seriously. This was like the weakest year. The movies that Sean Connery beat was like Broadcast News, Street Smart, Moonstruck, Cry Freedom. No, this was an optimal year and he deserved it.
Imagine the luck that you didn't go a year earlier. You would have been up against Platoon.
Oh, yeah, you have no shot.
Moonstruck.
This is like if you're a college football team this year, you're like, holy shit, we got a chance. It's Indiana, it's Miami. I mean, at the point this comes out, you'll probably know. But if you're a team, this is your year. There's nobody left out there. But you talk about him laying on the ground there, Gene. He's bleeding out. That scene threw me for a loop because I don't remember another movie like this, a biopic, where we get the POV of the killer. It turns into student bodies. You see the one white-suited guy going up in the back. He then points over to the other guys. And then all of a sudden, we're getting first person. Yeah. And he's up against the window. And you see Sean Connery, Malone's walking back and forth. I thought Malone was playing him, that Malone was aware the hit was coming and he was going to ambush the two of them. No, he's just incompetent. He lets the first guy go. He gets shot. He's laying there on the ground. And whatever. It all happened so quick. And I was shocked to learn. I thought they were going to go on like a couple years of successful raids, right? Build up the mystique of Ness. Capone would fight back. They have one or two good raids, and then the story changes. He dies. You get the Oscar dies. It's a bad turn really quick for this team that I thought would have gone on for much longer.
For those who haven't seen this movie in a while, let's go over this hit for a second. You're absolutely right, Big D. The way they plan this out is one guy goes in with Switchblade. He's going to draw Malone out into the stairway. And that is where Nitty is waiting with a submachine gun to take him out. Which begs the question, why don't you just go in there with two submachine guns and take him out? He's got his back to you multiple times. And I thought, Big D, what you're going to say is that you can't remember in any time in recent memory where one of your protagonists is shot while screaming racial epithets at another guy.
Oh, I love that.
That's the best part for me.
What did he say? Get out of here, you wop. Get out of here.
You damn guinea.
You didn't need to go into his apartment to shoot him. He's walking by open windows. You could have shot him, like just gotten up to the window, waited for him to walk back and forth. But I thought it was a setup that they were going to get them here, but it's not. And Ness is losing guys left and right. And then he's decided, with that little piece of paper, Gene, he's cracked the case. Malone's told him, the bookkeeper, 12:05. They look, they have just enough time to do it. So they run over to the train station and we get the most iconic scene in the film, which is simultaneously the most ridiculous if you stop and think about it. Okay. It is, it's like, I think 5 minutes to 12. The train leaves at 12:05. And Ness, he shows up and he's looking around and, he doesn't know what's going to happen. Right. And then he sees this woman and this woman's like, la, la, la. And she's walking with her little old wooden baby carriage, the stroller. And she's got two bags and she hits the first step, carries the bags up one step, puts the carriage up one step. And it is going on comically long. It feels like it's a half an hour. And I'm screaming at the TV, let's go. Why are you watching the woman? woman, get the hell out of there. I'm yelling at the screen. I'm watching the clock, and I'm just thinking, I understand they're trying to build tension, right? But it's a bit much. And just when she gets to the top of the stairs, that's when it's all going to break loose. We get the bookkeeper coming in with his guys, and it kicks into super slow motion. There's people getting shot. There's some Navy sailors coming up. They're taking a bullet. The baby carriage starts rolling backwards down the stairs. And Ness, instead of focused on the mission, Malone's just been killed. Oscar's just been killed. He all of a sudden cares about this baby in this damn fucking carriage. It starts to roll down the stairs. He starts running, and it's absurd. He's trying to shoot the guards, keep the carriage, save the bookmaker as it's all going down at once. And I'm like, listen, I understand you wanted this to be a tense scene, but it turned into a ridiculous, just over the top, unnecessary. None of it would have happened, Gene. The old Eliot Ness would have pushed the kid down the stairs and used it as cover and then shot the guys to keep the bookkeeper alive. Did this scene bother you?
Yeah. Yeah, it did. The cherry on top was Andy Garcia, though. Baseball sliding into position. He stops the carriage with one leg while he stops the hostage situation by taking the shot with a revolver, like iron sights. Guy's 20 feet above him, hits him in the forehead, and the guy's head is on the opposite side of the hostage. All I could think, though, during the whole scene is this is proof that ADA accommodations help everyone. In today's Union Station, that lady would have an elevator, a ramp, something to help that baby up the stairs.
Dude, he didn't care about those two sailors who took a bullet.
No.
He didn't care about the other passengers who got blasted. None of them. You got to do it's ridiculous. It's a little too much Hollywood in a story that's supposed to be grounded in reality.
Well, you mentioned that it was supposed to raise the tension. It became comical to me. I thought it was supposed to be like, it was like a Monty Python skit. The lady trying to get the carriage up the stairs. It went on. Nobody is that dumb.
No, but the best part is the baby.
Yeah.
The camera shoots from above and the baby is having the best time. The baby is smiling. The baby's cooing. The baby's giggling I think the carriage takes 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
and the baby just at the end, it's a big smile and wow, that was a close one as the sailors are bleeding out on the stairs. And, all of a sudden he's decided he is now going to testify the bookmaker. But I want to talk to Oscar. In most movies, whether it's a crime drama like this, even a historical biopic like this, where people know the story's ending, right? There is no need to introduce Oscar Wallace, who is the FBI's accountant. He's the forensic bookkeeper who's going to come in there and get you for the formalities, for like the not following the laws on taxes or keeping your accounting in line. The moment we meet him, Gene, he's like, tax evasion, tax evasion, tax evasion, Al Capone, tax evasion, we're going to get him tax evasion. This is the first thing this man says, and he never stops. He keeps going, tax evasion, tax evasion. He's not making any money, $3 million, none of it's in his name. He keeps going, and the rest of them are just shrugging it off, and they keep fighting, trying to get some busts on some of the booze. And it's almost funny how obvious the movie just straight up hands you the ending, even if you didn't know history, right? The movie's just telling you how it's going to go 2 hours later. You could have held it back. Imagine, Gene, I'm going to play a game now. Let's go back to some other movies in the 80s and 90s, right? What if Marty McFly the entire time kept walking around being like, wow, hey, Doc, did you know that lightning is 1.28 gigawatts? Did you know about lightning? I really like lightning. Lightning really is it's going to hit the clock tower. And he keeps fucking saying it, right? It would be ridiculous. You'd be like, there's no way that any character would do that. What if you had an aliens? Hey, there's got to be a queen around here somewhere. Who's laying these eggs? Let's go look for a queen. Hey, why don't you take that loader, right? The powered loader. Let's walk around. That would be a good thing to fight a queen. You could just ruin any movie. If you walked around the Terminator and Reese was like, don't shoot at him. It's not going to work. We need to crush him. Let's find something we can crush him. And then in the end, you find something to crush him. You didn't need to. You could have sprung that as a last resort, right? In a movie that really plays loose and fast with history, make that be. We couldn't get him for anything else. And then we got him for something that was an accounting error or some kind of a white collar crime.
And the saddest part Oscar's blood was on Eliot Ness's hands. Okay. He's an accountant. He's telling you, I think we can get this guy for tax evasion. And Eliot Ness's response is, yeah, whatever about the tax evasion. Here's a shotgun. Come with me on these raids. Come into this violent world. You don't have the demeanor for it. You don't have the training for it. But come on, let's go. And granted, Oscar killed a few dudes on the Canadian border, but he wasn't ready for an actual assassin. He wasn't ready for a Frank Needy.
No.
Here's one for you. You know what could have made this movie amazing is you get Oscar, but he's played by Bill Irwin. Remember Bill Irwin from Popeye and Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy video?
Oh, yeah, okay. So he's a bit goofy, but he's a bigger...
Slippy, goofy Oscar.
Right.
Now when he dies, you're sad. And no one takes the tax evasion thing seriously because it's Bill Irwin. He doesn't talk.
I mean, did we see them grieve for more than like maybe 35 seconds? Nobody, they didn't even see them sitting at a bar having a drink talking about Oscar and whether Ness felt guilty for putting him in that spot. Because this dude, this is the first action he's ever seen. He says, do you have a badge? Here, take a shotgun. He didn't say, have you ever shot a shotgun?
No.
You put him up in a situation where he's going to get killed. But again, Oscar, those last couple days of his life were probably the best.
Probably.
The ladies were looking at him. He felt like a big shit. He went out on top. So maybe this is all bad for Oscar, you know?
When Payne testifies at Capone's trial, Ness notices Nitti is wearing a gun in the courtroom. The bailiff removes Nitti and searches him, finding a note from the mayor that permits Nitti to carry the weapon. When Ness spots a matchbook with Malone's address written inside, Nitti shoots the bailiff before fleeing to the courthouse roof, where Ness pushes him to his death, avenging Wallace and Malone. Now, Big D, I understand the need to add a little Hollywood excitement to historical events. I gave Tombstone 1.5 wipes for that very reason, and I felt like Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp was really boring. But The Untouchables, maybe for its English audience, is trying so hard to be action-packed that it trips over its own dick. Like Wyatt Earp, yeah, they embellished a little bit in the movie Tombstone, but historically, it is documented he killed at least 5 guys in real life. Eliot Ness, he never killed anyone. He rarely even carried a gun. As you said, Big D, pencil pusher, right? He was a systems guy. That's what made him great. He worked by rooting out internal corruption, finding new ways to do things, improving communication. He actually pioneered the two-way radio for police, relying on data, focusing on crime prevention, doing like youth programs and stuff like that. Eliot Ness could not be further from let's raid this place guns blazing. Like he was like, let's do the paperwork to get this guy on a technicality.
Yeah, that's why you can't follow people's own biographies. Right. So, Gene, they're embellishing a lot here. They're trying to make it action-packed. And some of it I have a problem with as far as just what the characters would do in real life. Some of the criminals, right? They should be smarter. General rule of thought. If I'm not a Chicago's 30 criminal, right, who's an assassin. If I'm up on the roof of a building and there's somebody who I've just killed a close friend or family member of them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk shit to them under any situation. I could do that. Hey, take me in, Kappa. Take me in. Let's see what you do. I'm not going to give them any reason to throw my ass off the roof. That's just a failure to think. Would you ever taunt somebody in a situation that's this dangerous?
No. And beyond that, why does he have his gun in the courtroom? Like, if he's not going to do anything with it, it's pointless. I thought I saw the gun, and then I noticed that Eliot Ness brought his wife to the trial. What's she doing there?
Jesus Christ. I'm not going to bring my wife to the case with the man. I've had her in hiding. I've had her sequestered with marshals, and now I'm going to bring her in public. So Capone can see you with your wife.
Yeah.
And you can openly be aware of where she is and maybe follow her home. But it made for a compelling final act, Gene.
I guess. Well, Stone gives Ness Nitti's list of jurors in the trial that are on Capone's payroll. When Ness secretly persuades the judge to switch Capone's jury with one hearing an unrelated divorce case, Capone's lawyer enters a guilty plea. Capone is convicted of tax evasion and sentenced to 11 years in prison. Ness closes up his office, giving Malone's St. Jude medallion and callbox key to Stone as a farewell present. When a reporter asks Ness what he'll do after the probable repeal of Prohibition, Ness replies, I think I'll have a drink.
So, Gene, do you remember what was the most legally correct film we've reviewed that lawyers and the bar have said is the most accurate? You weren't on the podcast, but I think you might remember from talking about it.
The Firm?
No, My Cousin Vinny.
Oh.
My Cousin Vinny is renowned by lawyers as being one of the most accurate portrayals of law in film. This, which is supposed to be a historical telling, a crime drama, is the worst by far. This final courtroom stretch, it's ridiculous. And I understand the Untouchables, they want to be an action-packed retelling of Ness. You've already made him a badass, like gunslinger, Canadian Mountie, assassin, badass, right? Where he was just a pencil pusher. But now it gets into the courthouse and it reflects nothing of what actually happened. There was no jury swap where they catch the judge, they lie and say, hey, we know you're in the books. They swap the juries with a divorce next door. There's no shootout in the courtroom, right outside the courthouse, in the door, like out in the hallway. That would have ended the trial for that day, right? There's nobody thrown off the roof. If Ness threw off one of the actual Capone's guys during the trial, that would put the trial on hold. That doesn't happen. Capone never stood up and his lawyer immediately flipped from a not guilty to pleading guilty. It's not reality. None of this happened. The actual case was so less exciting, like you said, Gene. He was convicted through a long, methodical, simple trial based on tax records, witness testimony, financial paper trail. The movie deliberately throws all of this accuracy out the window because they needed something exciting. They needed it to be Hollywoodized. It had to be something that was exciting for people. If you sat there and had an actual trial, people would lose their minds. And I can accept that they're going to prioritize spectacle over the truth, but the level that they do it, the jury swap, the pleading guilty, that's not how a court case ends. And it was just a bit too much.
Yeah, what's truly criminal here is that I wanted to see what was happening in the courtroom. We've gone through all the police work. I mean, mostly shooting people, but we've gone through that. You got the guy to do the testimony. You got the books there. You got freaking Robert De Niro as Al Capone responding there. You got everybody in there. Entire films have been made just on the court part, right? So I'm excited. They have earned my attention on the court scene, and then they take us out of there, right? Suddenly it's Beastie Boys sabotage. It's guys running across rooftops and shooting at each other. And if Capone's lawyer weren't an absolute dipshit, he would have just proceeded with the case, because you're going to win this one on appeal, bro. Like, any appellate court judge would shit their pants over a lower court judge allowing a full jury swap without the consent of the defense. There is a whole process called jury selection. You have to select a jury that you mutually agree on. And you also cannot just surprise your client by pleading guilty on his behalf. A defendant can say, no, I don't want to plead guilty. It's not like whatever your lawyer says just goes. And then Capone's men are like holding him back, and the bailiffs are just standing around. Nothing. It's like a Cyndi Lauper video. Nothing makes sense.
No, and I feel like they didn't manage their time. You could have shaved off some of the beginning of the film, the introduction into Chicago, into the criminal organization, and put it towards the end on the actual case, because it's literally a madhouse. If you've not watched it, people, it breaks out into Judge Judy. There's people screaming. There's the bailiffs running around. Law and order is out the window. The press is in there snapping pictures. You got him, Eliot Ness. No, he didn't get him. The judge didn't sentence him. He's not actually been found guilty. People are running around. They're hugging and kissing. And then boom, the movie's over as he goes off into the sunset, and Eliot Ness is going to go pound a couple drinks. It just ended so abruptly and so weird tonally that you could have ended it. Maybe even give us some kind of like some text at the end, Gene, that I know you love, that gives us an overview of what happened, how maybe more details of Capone's life following it, the syndicates, the prohibition.
I almost fucking forgot. Frank Nitti, right? We get the whole shootout scene and all that stuff, and it's very forced action, whatever. What really happened to the real guy? There was actually Frank Nitti. He was one of Capone's enforcers. He got put away for, I think, tax evasion first, got out, went back into crime again, ended up, he knew they were closing in on him, and he ends up blowing his brains out in 1943. Kills himself. That's way more interesting.
Way better.
Wait, the guy that wiped out Malone, who didn't exist, and Wallace, who also did not exist, killing himself after all that because the law caught up with him. That's a better demonstration of justice. It's a better story. Come on.
And I also wish that they'd highlighted the unsung heroes of policing, the investigators, the forensic, the financial investigators. You didn't need to make Ness a gunslinger. You could have made it that the gunslingers fail, and then they focus on how they actually got him. Educate people. Like, people are watching this on the BBC, Gene, and they're thinking Ness was some tough ass instead of a bookworm. The nerds could have had a hero here.
I just can't believe that the same guy that did Carlito's Way did this.
Dude, also, what was there? Scarface, Carrie. You had Blowout, Body Double. You had Casualties of War, Bonfire of the Vanities, Carlito's Way, Mission Impossible,
Snake Eyes.
Oh, Nicolas Cage. You have a lot of films.
Yeah.
You know, it's such potential.
Well, now's the time of the podcast where we give our Shat score for The Untouchables. Our Shat score is our way of telling you how many wipes this movie takes to get off your respective butts. 0 wipes is a perfect movie. It's being from Chicago. And 5 wipes is an absolute disaster of a film. It's Andy Garcia's back hair. Did you catch that?
I didn't.
Oh my God. Go back and watch the scene where they pick him up at the shooting range.
Yeah.
He's got like that Police Academy like sweatshirt on. I think Police Academy was also an Eliot Ness invention. Anyway, look at the hair that's protruding from, he is a hairy, hairy man.
I'm comfortable enough in my sexuality, but I was focused on those sweatpants.
Uh-huh.
His genitals were, like those sweatpants were inappropriate. That's maybe why I didn't know. You didn't notice his protruding bulge?
No, I was looking at the back hair.
No, whether that was prosthetics or whatever, it was noticeable. I think that's why Malone picked him. He needed a big swinging dick, I guess is maybe what he called him. Are you looking for the sweatpants photo?
No.
I hear you clicking away over there. Maybe you're looking up. You're typing Garcia sweatpants large penis.
No, I was looking up biggest dicks in Hollywood.
I think it's what's his name, Davidson from SNL.
Pete Davidson?
Yeah, he's got he's the one who yeah, BDE. Yeah.
Huh. Anyway, Big D, what's your wipe score for The Untouchables?
I'm torn here, because even though I'm saying it's not an accurate historical telling, I don't know that that's what I wanted. Like Wyatt Earp or the films that, like, even like the Titanic, right? That shit didn't happen. There was no fucking love story on the headboard of a bed. It's Hollywood. It's enough to get us in and watch it. I'm going to land at I think 1.75 wipes. I think the movie looks great. It still holds up. It was, what was it? A little under 2 hours. I never felt the time. There were strong performances. I loved Costner. I loved seeing Sean Connery as an Irishman. His foul mouth and him talking shit and him being racist. It was funny. He's, again, like a dirty Yoda, profanity and his street wisdom. But the movie, it's so inaccurate and it leans so hard on this Hollywood retelling of history. 30% more accurate, I would have really been into it. I think it's a more feel good, where this was like America patting itself on the back. It's like the again, like maybe that's De Palma, because he did what was it, Casualty of War a couple years. That was his next film with Michael J. Fox as the American soldier in Vietnam who's going to stand up and do the right thing. Maybe that was his thing, but it's a bit too much. I enjoyed watching it. Myth making was interesting, but I don't know. I don't think it's that masterpiece that we remember it as. So I go 1.75 wipes.
Yeah. This movie is a jock's book report. Like, somewhere out there's an Eliot Ness biographer who took the time to write a fascinating history of what happened in 1930 Chicago. And we could have had that movie. We could have had bit by bit how this all went down. But instead, De Palma went with a version that you could explain to a potato. Like, this was the American audience in 1987, right? And yes, there are some charming actors doing some exciting things. I think Andy Garcia is electrifying, for lack of better words, this movie.
Yes.
But it's too wholesome to be an action movie. It's too violent to be a kid's movie. It's too sloppy to be a police procedural, and it's too inaccurate to be a historical film. So it doesn't really do anything well. It just kind of fails at a lot of things. Now, I'll admit, Adrian, when I was a kid, I thought this movie was great. If you would have asked me, I'm afraid to rewatch Memphis Belle because of how much I loved that movie as a kid. I thought it was so cool. That's where Untouchables is now. It's one of those times where my memory is broken and I have to go, not terrible, but not good. I'm going to say 3 wipes.
So Jane, with a wipe score of 2.375, that now places this in the 213 spot. Slightly better than Halloween, Army of Darkness, and Vacation. Slightly worse than a bunch of films, including Hard Bodies, Matilda, The Warriors, Natural Born Killers, and Harley Davidson and The Marlboro Man.
It's a good movie.
It's probably like in the middle. It's average. You know, it's one of those that I don't think we've been this surprised in a while.
Yeah.
That something didn't. Style over substance, I think. Could we maybe say that?
Yeah, style over substance. That's about right. It's very stylish. And again, looks great.
Oh, it looks great. If this popped up on TV again, I would have it playing in the background.
Kevin Costner's waist in his little waistcoats and freaking Andy Garcia with those like high-waisted trousers with the wool jackets that he was wearing. He looked great. Sean Connery looked like he was in the circus. Well,
Sean Connery also said, a couple of years ago in 20 pounds, that man did not have 20 pounds to lose at that point.
Oh.
He was a...
Svelte.
Oh, he was a lot of good-looking men on set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
De Niro looked like he was they added some like a fat suit on him or something.
Yeah, he had some kind
87 De Niro was pretty svelte. Anyway, Big D, what do we have coming up next week?
So, Gene, next week, New York executive Paul Racine is on a business trip in Japan when he meets a stunning, enigmatic Kirina. They spend the night together in her hotel room, and Racine returns the next day to retrieve his forgotten keys. But once he's there, he witnesses Kirina's assassination by Kinjo, the leader of a ninja cult. Realizing that Racine has seen everything, Kinjo will do everything in his power to end the executive's life. Commissioned by Joshua R. And Gene, we're going from a renowned Oscar-winning performance to Christopher Lambert fighting ninjas.
You see the connection there? You see the connection? Are you seeing it? What was...
Well, Highlander 2. We got a Highlander 2 connection.
Oh, that one too. That one too. No. I was going to say, okay, you got 2 connections there. You got Sean Connery, Highlander. So there's a connection. But you've also got, what was Jimmy Malone's address in
Racine?
In the Untouchables? 1634 Racine.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We also have the ninja cult and swords.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Highlander swords.
Okay.
We've got a lot going on here.
An assassin.
Mm-hmm.
Got assassinations. It's basically the same movie.
Identical. I hope there's going to be some forensic accounting in this movie. A lot of spreadsheets.
All right. Well, thank you, Josh, for commissioning our upcoming movie. Thank you, Adrian, for commissioning The Untouchables. Thank you to all the commissioners who make this podcast possible. That concludes this week's episode of Shat The Movies. Be sure to follow us on social media and share with a friend. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at Shat The Movies. Email us, host@shatpod.com. Support the podcast by shopping our Amazon affiliate link, buying our merch, or by commissioning your own movie. You can find all that information by visiting our website, shatpod.com. Also, check out our sister podcast, Shat on TV. Review TV series such as Lovecraft Country, Westworld, True Detective, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, and Watchmen. Find all information on our website, shatpod.com/TV, wherever fine podcasts be found, including Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, and if you stop Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. It helps the podcast grow. On behalf of my co-host, Big D, I'm Gene Lyons. Join us next time for the following movie.
I was born in Kyoto. My mother was of Chinese descent. I am known by reputation. My skill is unmatched.
Only been in Japan on business, and I thought you and I could do a little sightseeing.
Sounds nice, but it's impossible.
I've killed 100 men and women, never hesitated.
Before you kill me, let me see your face.
Or you're half dead, then you're the only witness to a murder.
Foreigners alive. Bring me his head. Some fool is helping him.
He's the descendant of a great samurai family.
Only I can save you.
It's between him and me.
I will kill him tonight.
I'm tired of running away.